What if Cesaro wins the Universal Championship? Will Alexa Bliss interfere in the Raw Women's Championship match? So many questions are popping up as we head closer to WrestleMania Backlash. I'm Jose G, and with just a few days left for the pay-per-view, let's take a look at 5 mistakes WWE should not make at WrestleMania Backlash. Yeah, it's weird. They put WrestleMania in the name, right? Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and set your notifications on for our next video. Number 5, Rhea Ripley loses the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley won the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 37 last month by defeating Asuka. A little over a month later, she is all set to defend her title against the Empress and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania Backlash this Sunday. All these women have a lot of history as they have faced each other in singles matches at WrestleMania in the last few years. Without any doubt, when they clash, the match has the potential to be an instant classic despite a lukewarm build-up. Charlotte Flair returned to Raw after Mania and has made some interesting changes to her character. WWE might be inclined towards putting the Raw Women's title on the Queen again, but that is a mistake that they shouldn't make right now. If they do, expect wrestling Twitter trolls trip over themselves to tweet, "She's only there because of her dad." Rhea Ripley is the future of WWE Women's Division, and she deserves a proper first reign as the Raw Women's Champion. A victory for her over the likes of Asuka and Flair would show that WWE trusts Ripley's brutality to be the face of their women's division, and that now she's just not a makeshift champion. Number 4, the feud between Damian Priest and The Miz continues. The latest match to be announced for the card for WrestleMania Backlash is Damian Priest going one-on-one against The Miz. On this week's edition of Monday Night Raw, Priest picked up a victory over John Morrison and hence got to choose the stipulation for his match against The Miz at WrestleMania Backlash, which he revealed to be a lumberjack match. So we could get a couple 24/7 title matches at ringside while this match goes down in the ring? Damian Priest made his debut on Raw earlier this year and has since been in a feud with The Miz and John Morrison. At WrestleMania 37, Priest teamed up with Puerto Rican rapper and singer Bad Bunny to defeat the team of The Miz and Morrison. However, rather than ending this feud on the biggest show, WWE has dragged it, leading it to this match at WrestleMania Backlash. Yep, we're still calling it WrestleMania Backlash. A former NXT North American champion, Priest has impressed fans with his run on the black and gold brand. The Archer of Infamy has all the qualities to be a successful main roster star for the company. As great as The Miz has been as a heel, helping put over Damian Priest as the babyface, WWE needs to end this feud at WrestleMania Backlash this Sunday with Priest picking up a convincing victory. He can then go on to have a feud with United States Champion Sheamus. What do you guys think? Miz will honestly be fine collecting checks from the Miz and Mrs. and making his next movie, The Marine 7, clean the latrine. Bianca Belair looks weak in her match against Bayley. WrestleMania Backlash will feature SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair defending her title against Bayley. It was in the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania 37 where Belair picked up a historic victory and she defeated Sasha Banks to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. It was a feel-good moment that is looking to feel good vibes just a little bit. As great as the entire storyline of her chasing the title was, WWE hasn't booked her very well after that. It has been the typical case of WWE not booking their babyface champions properly following their massive title victory. Remember Rey Mysterio 2006 World Championship run? Bianca Belair has appeared alongside the Street Profits on multiple occasions since WrestleMania 37. While there's nothing wrong with that, the focus hasn't been properly on her. Now in her feud against Bayley ahead of WrestleMania Backlash, she is again being portrayed as the underdog. While it's unlikely that Belair will drop her SmackDown Women's Championship to Bayley at WrestleMania Backlash this Sunday, WWE needs to ensure they don't make the mistake of making her look weak. The two should have a competitive match, but in the end, the EST of WWE should pick up a convincing victory and solidify herself as the top female superstar on SmackDown. If not, let's hope we at least get to see her whip someone with her hair. By the way, check out the interview with Bayley on this YouTube channel where she has tons to say. Roman Reigns loses the Universal Championship at WrestleMania Backlash. In what would likely be the main event of WrestleMania Backlash, Roman Reigns will defend his Universal Championship against Cesaro. The Swiss Superman is in the middle of arguably of his best singles push in WWE. Yeah, he does not have a yodel here to tell people he was a rugby player like he did in his early WWE days. After a string of major victories on SmackDown followed by defeating Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 37, Cesaro is at the top of his game. Rollins may be losing because based on how he's been dressing lately, he has clearly lost his mind. The WWE Universe has been very vocal in the last few years about wanting to see Cesaro win a world title. However, as great as it would be finally to see him become Universal Champion, WrestleMania Backlash is probably not the correct stage for that. Roman Reigns has held the Universal Championship for over 250 days and could be argued that this has been the best Universal Championship reign ever since the inception of the title in 2016. After so much buildup, the Tribal Chief losing the Universal title should happen at a much bigger stage than WrestleMania Backlash, probably SummerSlam, or even next year's WrestleMania. Yes, Cesaro can swing Reigns all he wants, but the big dog's hair will remain wet. We got a real thing with hair today. Cesaro loses clean to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania Backlash. While Roman Reigns losing his Universal Championship at WrestleMania Backlash is not something WWE should do, they should also not make Cesaro lose clean to the Tribal Chief. As mentioned in the last point, the Swiss Cyborg is in the middle of the greatest singles run on Friday Night SmackDown. WrestleMania Backlash may not be the perfect time for Roman Reigns to drop the Universal title to Cesaro, but the latter losing clean would badly hinder his momentum. WWE could instead have Roman Reigns pick up the victory with some outside help from interference from the main event Jey Uso, or even returning Jimmy Uso, who could probably turn heel and acknowledge Roman Reigns as the head of the table. This would protect Cesaro and could also kickstart a proper heel run for the Bloodline. That name, the Bloodline, sounds like a WCW knockoff of the Brood, right? Well, that's our list for the day. Be sure to dive deep into the comments with your take on everything WWE and beyond. For up-to-date content, follow us on all social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download the Sportskeeda app for the most up-to-date stories in the world of wrestling.